Hey there, hi there, ho there, gamers! I'm Matt, and I make games. I make video games professionally, and for fun, I make board games, role-playing games, other kinds of games. And in Game Design Game, I share my designs and some tips and tricks with you. The Game Design Game channel is not just about game design, it is a playable game. So other episodes have talked about some of the rules. Towards the end of every episode, I talk about the rules a little bit and might make rules updates or additions. You can find that using the chapter select down in the text. This episode is part of a series in which I'm going to be playing through Tomb Raider games and discussing some of the design and technical features. I worked on these games, and currently I'm in Tomb Raider Legend, and about to start Chapter 3, the Japan level. Game Design Game.
What exactly happened last time you and Takamoto got together?
He was trying to pass off forged relics from the Asuka period, and conventional reason doesn't work with Yakuza.
But you let him go.
And now we're going to have a useful conversation. It's turned out quite nicely.
Lara, got a call from Nishimura. He's in his office, so he won't be mingling. The bartender will hook you up with him, though.
Ever predictable.
Okay, this is Tomb Raider Legend. Japan is the third level. We're in a classy establishment.
Good evening. I believe Nishimura-san is expecting me.
Ah, Lady Croft. He is in his office down the hall behind you. I will let him know you're coming.
Thank you.
In office. Turn all the blankets, let's go here. Let's all inside. There we go.
Welcome, Lara. You have been enjoying my little party?
Totemo tanoshindeemasu, Nishimura-san. When Takamoto arrives, however, it may cause you some inconvenience.
Take care. He is a very dangerous man when his interests differ from yours.
You'd be amazed how persuasive I can be, even with dangerous men.
I am convinced. I am dangerous too, you remember. But please, enjoy the party while you can, and good luck.
Different kind of party.
Be brief, Miss Croft. I have many demands on my time, you understand.
Of course, Takamoto-san. I am looking for a piece, a sword fragment, in the care of Waseda University, or it was until you stole it.
I am not a thief. And you would be wise to avoid such accusations.
Then I suggest we skip to the negotiations.
I don't have any idea what you are talking about.
Of course you do. Just name a price.
Miss Croft, are you deaf?
I don't know. Let's see. Try begging for your life like you did the last time we spoke.
殺せ! 今すぐやれ!
Where'd you get those?
Basic etiquette. Never arrive at a party empty-handed.
Takamoto has no doubt returned to his penthouse. Do not follow him, Lara. His men will be waiting.
His lobby's a death trap. I know you're into those, but it's not really a winning option.
If I can't go down, I'll go up. How do I get to the roof?
The roof? There is an elevator. cautious. There is construction above.
I don't know about this, Lara.
That's why we have to view the problem from a different angle. Namely, the roof. Nishimura gave me the pass to the lift, and I'm on my way.
Alright, we're on a rooftop. We're back into exploration mode.
Odd place for a bike. And a nice one, too.
Motorcycle.
Well, it's a crime to keep a bike like that locked up on a roof.
I think we'll come back for that in a moment. Just want to see what my options are. Helicopter. Landing pad.
All right, that building across the street, that's Takamoto's.
He's likely to be on the top floor. This is going to require some creativity.
And let's check around the side.
I don't think this walkway gets much foot traffic. Terribly inconvenient. But I may be able to make use of it.
Okay, I believe this is motorcycle time. Explodey barrel in a cage, interesting. Can't get in there, but there's stairs leading up. So I need to get up and over. This is how you know it's live play. I haven't figured out where to go yet.
Creativity.
Oh, okay. Let's try a grenade. Let's see.
Nishimura's gonna bill you for that.
It's not a party until something gets broken.
We'll climb. Not an interesting enough case to talk about. So it took me a little while to find the path. Whenever you feel lost in a video game, just look around at what's there. And oftentimes, you just gotta figure out how to use what's already sitting there. Okay, shiny grapple bling. That's a grapple pull, which we've seen a couple of, but this is a new use case, but they all work essentially the same way. There's a little bit of physics on the pull, or it can trigger an animation. I think this one is just physics. Okay, that looks like a pushable crate. If I need to go, maybe that's to get back out. And I can get a motorcycle.
Lara, what exactly are you doing?
Listen to that. 0 to 60 in under 3 seconds.
So, I want to jump that ramp, but I gotta line it up first, so I'm gonna back it up, get all the distance I can, and gun it. Oh, oh, oh,
oh. Lara, this is crazy people stuff. Lara!
oh, into the lights. I hit the wrong button. So this is a case of, yeah, once again, the QuickTime event buttons don't really match the actions. I want to throw a grapple for that first one at the very least. be a grapple press.
Don't ever do that again.
Not on that bike, I won't.
So, yeah, although again I would change the buttons if I were doing this myself. It's an example of how the much maligned, old-timey quick-time events let you do exciting things that are hard to do with normal gameplay, like swing a grapple completely over something, jump off at the last second and still somehow survive. Oh, I missed. Missed even the catch. So this was set up with a lower platform to catch me, but I screwed it up anyway. So I'm supposed to shoot this first. So grapple it, grapple. Press Z to enter or exit accurate aim. So come on, console. Controller. So it's not Z, but I found it. Red for guns, blue for grapple, gray for out of range. Okay, well now it's a swing rope. Didn't quite make it far enough. But the lower platform catches me, and I can go back and try again.
At least when she's leaping about on cliffs, they stay put. Man, I don't know what she's thinking. She's crazy.
I can hear you.
Gotta line up my swings. Let's line her up better. Maybe. There we go. Okay. Zip line.
At least when she's leaping about on cliffs, they stay put. Man, I don't know what she's thinking. She's crazy.
I can hear you, you know, and it's a tad distracting.
Sorry, Lara. Shutting up now.
Alright, I don't like that barrel. Pick! It's murder on the fingers. Sliding down a metal cable with bare hands. Throw the grapple at shimmering metallic objects. Pull. Attach. Grab. Swing. Nope, that wasn't it. Oh, grapple around a corner, fancy. So it's hard for me to see that before I get here. Which is why I sort of trusted it and shouldn't have. Okay, it's a double grapple swing with a double with a grapple at the end. So. Okay, maybe this one doesn't need to swing. Corner. A little height here. Shooting dime. There's not a lot of stealth in this. Alright. Dime. I see, I need to maybe...
She's never cared for TV much. She did maybe now they'll write a book for a change.
Okay, so camera is showing a path it wants me to take up these monitors. So let's first check what's down where I already am. Not a lot. Okay. So monitors with a path. So layout-wise, this is a little awkward. Seems like it's hard to see. Where's the SPS? It's not like standard part, it's like underscore, so I don't go this way. Yeah, it's okay. Okay, one more up there. Oh, there's a pole.
Please don't look down.
Heights don't bother me, Alister.
They make me positively nauseous. Like I told her in Bolivia.
I'll try my best to keep my chin up, but I do need to concentrate, if you don't mind.
That was an unfortunate arrangement. Okay. So since I've been missing quite a few jumps here, I'm going to talk about jump targeting and some of the tricky issues that come up with it.
Please don't look down.
Heights don't bother me, Alister.
They make me positively nauseous.
So as you
Like
can
I
see,
told
this
her in Bolivia.
I'll try my best to keep my chin up, but I do need to concentrate, if you don't mind.
this whole sequence is, inspired by the idea of climbing a modern building. And so there's lots of different traversal elements, horizontal swing poles, jump platforms, vertical poles like the one I'm on now, and these rotating structures. And as you can see, the pole I'm on is kind of lined up only with the very edge of this next platform sequence, which is going to be sort of at the heart of why I missed that last attempt. So, platform jumping, there's easy ways to do it and hard ways to do it, and Tomb Raider Legend is trying some difficult things and is not doing them as well as it could. This was improved in later Tomb Raider games, but the idea in this game is that at the moment that you press a jump button, you're holding the stick in a direction that you want to jump, and at that point you're going to be launched through the air in a particular direction, driven by physics. You know, gravity will make a little parabolic jump arc, and your path is known or knowable. It's just math at that point. And because the path is knowable, then at that moment that you hit that jump button, we can predict where Lara's going to end up. And in the course of predicting a jump, we can then see how close it is to things that she could actually grab along the way. And we can, assuming she's close enough to actually grab it, we can use that information to help make it look very smooth and land nicely on the destination. Because this vertical pole is lined up with the left edge of the platform, I'm going to more deliberately jump in the direction of that horizontal pole now. That pulls this platform down. Now, at this moment, you can see that I'm not beside Lara, so she's not doing perfect left-right jumps. I'm not behind Lara, so she's not jumping perfectly forward or back. I'm at a strange angle, and that's going to affect how I use the left stick to control the direction of her jump. Now, looking at that vertical pole, I hinted at this a little in episode 10, but looking at that vertical pole, you can't see the top, you can't see the bottom. In your mind's eye, you can't really tell if it's lined up with the left edge of the platform or the right edge of the platform or the center of the platform, or even if it's not in line with any of those. It could be because it's really hard to tell how close it is to the camera. So if we remember before, it was lined up with the left, or in this case with the far edge of the platform. But it's really hard to tell that. But I mean, I know, because I was analyzing it, I can tell that this is going to be a better line for swinging and grabbing that pole. And now I can't see her at all. That's a little bit of a camera problem. Camera's trying to stay far back to give a good view, but there's geometry in the way. So if I rotate the camera around to get a better view, and now here, because I have the camera lined up nicely, we can tell that it's lined up with the left edge of the platform, and that I really want to jump into the screen this way, or if I put it at an angle like this, I want to go what on my screen is perfectly to the right, so on my stick would be to the right. But if I misjudge that stick direction, if I have a strange angle, it might be very difficult to figure out exactly what direction I want to jump in. And that's what happened last time. My jump was a little bit to the left, or if I jumped, for example, directly into the screen, so up on my controller, from here, I'm going to be jumping in the direction of that axis, the little rotational element that this platform swings around. And so if I'm very deliberate about it and line up my jump to jump into the screen from here, I should be able to make the platform no problem. So that's an illustration of how, between the layout of the level and the use of the camera and the interpretation of the stick, there's a lot of ways that the jump can go wrong. And one of the tricky issues in Tomb Raider Legend was that people missed jumps and often would blame the game, and they're not wrong to do that because of all those factors were not working together properly to make their jumps possible. And this little gap is kind of a death trap for the player. It's just enough of a gap to fit through. There's nothing down there to save them. And so if the player misjudges that initial takeoff, there's not much to do. Ways to improve that, we could, even without some sort of air steering system to help correct for problems, we could in theory have put a ledge grab on the inside, so like along this edge could have been a grabbable spot, and there's a chance that Lara would grab that even if she went a little too far that direction. We could have put catch ledges down below there. All of these bars on the wall could have been something grabbable to stop a long fall and just turn it into a shorter fall that you could get back to this pole from. The layout could have maybe put the platforms a little closer to the wall so that gap doesn't exist in the first place. So, and the camera. Now, when the player's in control of the camera, you can't stop them from putting it at a bad angle, but we could have some sort of camera helper system that would line up. I would probably have chosen an angle something like this so that directly right on the screen is actually the correct way to go. Because players will tend to use those orthogonal directions, but really when you're jumping to or from vertical poles, there's almost no good camera position where you can really tell, or in this case, there's one good camera position where you can tell which way to jump, and that's a challenge. So I'm going to go to a drawing board and show some of these jump targeting issues in drawings, and show some of the ways to think about them or to avoid these sorts of tricky gameplay issues if you're trying to do these sorts of tricky layouts and mechanics in a game that you're working on. Okay, a drawing board to go over some of these things I was talking about. So when doing jump targeting, there's a lot of issues. I'm going to focus this time on jump direction, which is how the player's inputs affect which way the character jumps, and how that can have a big impact on the success of the player's jump, especially when combined with things like level layout and camera. So here's an image from the video, the game I was just playing, of Lara approaching the swing rope on the scaffolding. I'm running on these scaffolds, so her feet are on the ground. And if we can think of the input direction on the analog stick when using a game controller as this little circle under her feet. And so if I hold the controller up, that's in this particular image, that would be forward. If I hold the stick to the left, that would be to her left. So these little imaginary circles are part of what happens in your mind when you're trying to map what you see on screen to your thumb motions. You make these sort of correlations between the stick and the visible action on screen. So I've also emphasized here where the swing rope is hanging. It was visible on screen, and it's a little easier to see when everything's in motion. But in this still frame, I've just added this little highlight. So we can see it's well centered, it's lined up pretty well, and this should be a pretty easy jump to make. You just hold forward on the stick, or maybe slightly to the right, since we can see that the rope is slightly to our right before pressing the jump button. But what happens if you're off, right? People are not 100% accurate with their thumb, and that means it's very easy to get a little bit of a direction to the left or the right. And it's in fact almost impossible to expect players to be perfect. So these green arcs sort of represent what happens if I'm aiming to the left or the right, as shown by these yellow lines. The green arc on the left goes outside of the scaffolding range, and Lara falls to her death, and this is what actually happened to me in play. And the green arc on the right sort of bonks into the building. And what's not really shown here is that if you're doing this sort of jump detection, there's usually some sort of corridor in the middle, some sort of width of effect that sort of represents that the character is not a perfectly vertical line. So whichever direction they pick, there's a little bit of play to the left or the right. And that handles a lot of the error cases. But ultimately, it will always come down to something that I call the 1 centimeter or the 1 degree rule, which is no matter how wide you want to tune this sort of generous line, there's always some position that's obviously too far to the side, and there's always some position that's perfect and dead on, and that means there's somewhere in between those 2 points, obviously wrong and obviously right, where your game is deciding that it is right or it is wrong, and if you go 1 centimeter to the side or 1 degree further off to the side, you cross that boundary from right to wrong, and the game ignores it. And so if you make it too generous, everything looks magnetic. The character might fly to the side because they've decided to catch something that really wasn't in their path. And if you make it too stingy, then these little miscalculations on the thumb can miss the opportunity to grab the rope. I'm not saying this particular one was too stingy. I think some of it was my error as a player, but it's something to take into account when you're trying to make these kinds of mechanics. Okay, this is another example from later in the level where Lara's hanging from a horizontal pole and trying to jump to a vertical pole. So the vertical pole is this silver bar on the left. And once again, we have sort of the imaginary thumbstick direction as a circle around Lara. And this time I've drawn it around her middle, and that's another issue where different players will imagine the stick from slightly different positions on the character. So someone's mental model might think of the thumbstick direction as being where her hands are. Some might think of it as being where her feet are. It doesn't always matter, but sometimes it might. And so in this case, I've just picked a midpoint. But there's really no way to know what's behind the scenes. There's no visual indicators of where the direction is. So here I'm highlighting the horizontal pole that Lara's hanging from. So it's a little easier to see for this demonstration purpose. And I've drawn a direction choice where the stick is directly to the left, which is not lined up with anything in this image, right? Our camera is sort of at a almost 45-degree angle, or to be honest, it's really hard to tell what angle it is between the scaffolding on the right and the pole on the left. But we know that the pole on screen is left of the horizontal bar. So left might be a good way to jump, but in your mind's eye, it's hard to tell. Is that pole really close to the camera? And therefore it's kind of, she might jump behind it if she jumps directly to the left, or is the pole really far away from the camera and jumping to the left might jump in front of the pole? You can't really tell if the jump is going to go in front of the pole, behind the pole, or directly into the pole. So I've drawn this secondary line, which might be more appropriate if we think of the pole as being closer to the screen than it really is. But again, without that visual information to help us identify its position, it's very easy for players to make these mistakes, especially if they're moving quickly. And these two jump arcs sort of represent different possible paths that Lara might take, depending on which direction you steer. And okay, similar location, just jumping the other way. This is now jumping from the pole to the ledge. And again, you can imagine your directional stick down near her feet, or you can imagine it up near her hands or anywhere in between. That can affect, especially in the case of, jumps, that could affect how you picture her arc and where you think it might intersect with the scaffolding. So these lines just highlight the pole and the different shapes that the player can see on the screen. And these straight lines on the screen sometimes help guide the player's interaction with the thumbstick for good or for ill. So this yellow directional line arrow I've drawn is perfectly lined up with this visual image on the screen. So it is a direction that might be in the player's head because they could see that line on the screen. They might move their thumbstick in that direction, sort of instinctively trying to line it up with something because, again, there's no easy way to recognize whether the vertical pole is near the screen or far away from the screen. So if we do that and we do our jump in this particular layout because of the examination we did, we know this arc is going to fall behind the scaffolding and towards that axis, and that's one of the failed jumps that I actually did, was I steered in the wrong direction, when really a perfectly right direction on the screen, because of where this vertical pole is lined up, the perfectly right direction, the red arrow, would actually get us lined up with the target better. Okay, one more quick example. This is at the end of the scaffolding sequence, there's a zip line. I need to jump to the zip line and grab it to swing across the street. So there's a little highlight to make the zip line a little easier to see. Now this is the line as it appears on screen, and again, there's no really good information about whether it's close or far away. We know from the 3D play that it's actually stretched across the street. It's more horizontal than vertical, but on this screen, it's a little hard to tell. And so lining up this jump is a little difficult, and I missed it once. And so, again, be very careful with how the game lays out these jumps. It's really a good idea to either make them very, what I would say, orthogonal, so everything perpendicular to other things, so that the player can kind of understand the geometric relation even when looking at a still screen. And it doesn't hurt to have some sort of safety net down below to catch the player. In Tomb Raider's case, the safety net is the game reloads relatively quickly, so falling to your death doesn't feel too punishing. Okay, so we'll see more of these types of issues as I continue through this climb. So platform to platform jumps aren't too bad as long as the camera gives you space to see where everything is. So yeah, jumping to a pole. So from here I can tell I want to jump into the screen, but I can't really tell how far away it is. Right? It could be 3 feet away, it could be 20 feet away, and it just can't really tell from there. From the side, I can tell, okay, yeah, that's her sort of 3-meter jump distance from the platform. And if I jump to the right, she should be able to grab it. But now if I look at it from this side, I can't really tell how far into the screen it is. I can't tell if it's lined up with the left edge of her platform, the right edge of her platform, or not lined up with it at all. So this turns out to be a really tricky problem with narrow traversal mechanics like poles and balance beams and we'll see in Tomb Raider Underworld pillars. When they're not against a wall, you can completely misinterpret where they are. So the best way to handle these as a player is to line up your camera in some very clear direction like this, and once you've established that it's close enough with some other viewpoint, you just jump straight at it. In this case, the camera swung automatically. It's sort of setting up for the next sequence. So when there's no air steering, that's fine. If this game had air steering, that would completely confuse the controls. So now I'm climbing up this vertical pole.
Hurry up, Laura, it's not gonna hold.
And now they're giving me time limits.
Hurry, Laura, they'll send at any second.
So if you give the traversal sequence time limits like that, little breakaway moments, everything should be lined up fairly nicely in the camera. The angle on that particular sequence was not the best, but it was good enough that I didn't struggle. And in part it's because horizontal poles always jump perpendicular to the pole, so there's no way to get it wrong. That's not true of vertical poles. Vertical poles you can jump off any direction. Horizontal poles will always jump you off perpendicular, so it's a little bit safer with the horizontal poles. Looks like I got another fight coming up. Surprise! Oh, that was nice. There was a successful example of the slide attack. I didn't really do it on purpose. I think I did hit the melee button. And I was headed right at them.
Whoa,
Okay.
hang on. You see that turret down the hall?
Yes. You smell a trap.
I don't.
I do. Be careful. What's
Talked about
that?
rollerball, so
It's more modern art than archaeology, in this context at least.
I'm gonna go check this other door first. Alright, so I want to head down. They warned me of a turret, which I guess is that. But I've got a rollerball here, I bet. Let's see. Yes. Gonna get it off there.
As lovely as that is, don't you think it's a little big to bring home by yourself? Just let the lady work, buddy.
The shield.
Made it. How bad you hit?
It's two
I've
things in
been
the room.
better. Let's not do that again.
I'll also talk a little bit about the guys on the radio, right? We've got Zip and Alister talking in my head on the radio. That was something else in Tomb Raider Legend that plenty of people did not like. In the older Tomb Raider games, it was very much sort of Lara on her own experience, and people liked that. The attempt, or some of the reasoning behind this, in addition to just introducing a little bit more of character and personality into play, is that Lara can talk about the things that she sees and does without looking like a crazy woman talking to herself, right? She can explain it to these friends on the radio, and sometimes they can provide extra information or insight, just so it doesn't feel a little as strange. And characters talking to each other is how the player gets information, whereas if a character's by themselves, the only way to give that information to the player feels a little strange. So that is part of the reasoning for them, and yeah, it's something that Tomb Raider games have struggled with.
You should not have come here. This is my province, not one of your rotten little tombs.
Tell me about the sword, Takamoto.
What about it? What is it that fascinates you, Ms. Croft?
Let me have a look at it and I'll tell you.
Your persistence will be the death of you. You have disrespected me. You have broken into my house. You have killed my men.
I've simplified your payroll. And now, if you don't mind, I'll streamline your inventory.
You speak of this? It is the most prized of my collection.
And why is that?
I am fond of recovering objects from dead Englishmen. In this case, one of your crusaders. Some have even said the warmonger was one of your King Arthur's knights. I do not know how the fool came by it, for it is clearly far older than the 11th century, when your people lived in huts of mud.
And for this reason, you'd rather die than hand it over.
No. For this one! You understand? Now you will see your bullet. Here is what you wish for. Have I satisfied your curiosity? It's time to die. Here is what you wish for. Next for your life. Your movements betray your confusion. Hell swallow you.
This is it, all right.
Did you see what it can do?
Yes, Alistair, I did.
Nishimura's got a chopper outside waiting for you.
Excellent. Tell him he's my new favorite person. Thank you, Nishimura-san. I'm very relieved to find you here.
I am relieving myself too. What about Takamoto? Where is he?
It depends on whether he was naughty or nice.
I've got a line on James Rutland, by the way. Want to go together?
Absolutely. Africa is among my favorite continents.
All right, that's the end of the Japan level. That's a good stopping point for today. I hope you enjoyed hearing about traversal features and some of the tricky control issues that can crop up. So Game Design Game is also a playable game. I'm not going to add to the rules today, but I will remind everyone of the new rule added in episode 12, which allows you to score using an estimate of how many bullets I fire in each episode. That could potentially be a good number of points in these Tomb Raider episodes. So if you want to play along, submit your score down in the comments below. And if you want a good format that will make it very clear where your points are coming from, check the text below the video, which gives an example of the scoring. Or you can go to the Discord page, find out more rules of play, and try to optimize your score, and potentially someday win a prize. Next time on Game Design Game, more Tomb Raider Legend, and more gameplay design and technical features. I don't know what yet. So until next time, gamers, hi there, ho there, hey there.